Hello everyone, hope you're having an awesome day today. Welcome to the Film Insight channel. For today's video, we're going to discuss some more hotels featured on Hotel Hell and reveal if they're still open. So, without further ado, let's get right into the content, guys. Applegate River Lodge. Owned by Richard and Joanna Davis, Applegate River Lodge is a family-run business that resides in Applegate, Oregon. 22 years ago, the couple designed and built the lodge, but things quickly shifted after their divorce. Business was declining and the Davis family was beginning to feel desperate for any kind of help, so they reached out to Gordon Ramsay. When arriving, Ramsay notices that there is an ugly area near the entrance and that there is a pungent smell coming from somewhere. Upon entering the hotel, he's stunned by the fact that the lobby is so large yet is devoid of any furniture or people. Buzzing in to get the attention of an attendant, it takes a while before the owner, Richard, finally responds. Oddly, Richard introduces himself as Pa Butt, then shows the famous chef to his back office, which is going to be a party venue later on. Noticing that the smell from earlier was getting stronger, Richard tries to pass it off as incense and cooking herbs, but it becomes clear that it was cannabis. Being caught red-handed, the owner admits that he's high and that he's a medical marijuana user. Meeting with the co-owner Joanna, she expresses that they are $1 million in debt and lose $5,000 to $15,000 a month. Heading over to the restaurant, he notices that the customers are sending a lot of the dishes back and that they let dogs roam around the dining room. Paying the restaurant staff a visit, Ramsay tells them that they're just playing at running a restaurant since their service and food are equally horrible. Later going to his room, Ramsay uses a black light to check the sheets, which are covered in stains and fluids. Despite his desire to get some sleep, the famous chef is kept awake by the loud party Richard is having in the lounge. Following what is a lot of heated argument, Ramsay manages to get the family to agree to grow up and treat their hotel like a business rather than a party pad. Ready to make changes to the lodge, the Hotel Hell host revamps the reception area by adding chairs and furniture to make it more welcoming. The hotel's rooms were extensively redecorated and cleaned, and the restaurant was made to have a simpler theme and menu. Immediately after Ramsay left, the reviews were very mixed, with people complaining about the hotel and weddings while other people praising the restaurant. Despite the owners being colossally incompetent potheads, they stepped up in the end and their business is still open to this day. If you wanted to get more information on the lodge, you can get a better look on their official website. Beachfront Inn/Inlet. Ramsay decides to visit the Beachfront Inn/Inlet, a struggling hotel located on the beachfront in Fort Pierce, Florida. Brian, the owner of the hotel, opened it up in 2012 with the profits of a successful fish market run by his father. With the lack of hotel experience and the employees and guests doing nothing but party in the bar until early hours, this made a lot of patrons complain. In desperate need of some professional guidance, Brian reaches out to the Hotel Hell team and Gordon Ramsay for some help. Arriving at the hotel, he's put in a state of awe from the stunning backdrop, but is even more surprised that there are pieces of varnished driftwood being sold for $22. Kind of random. Being taken to his room by an employee named Lisa, he's disgusted by the damp, musty smell and hates how his bed feels like it's 15 years old. Fed up, he goes over to the restaurant and hopes that the food will at least make up for the hotel's shortcomings. Ordering chicken wings that were dry, mac and cheese that definitely wasn't mac and cheese, and a tuna burger made with frozen tuna, he's officially disappointed. Talking with customers, Ramsay asks if they expect to eat fresh or frozen fish, to which they answer with fresh. Brian then goes on a rant about how they're in debt and can't purchase fresh ingredients since it would cost way too much. Wanting to explore the kitchen, he takes a look at their walk-in freezer and finds some slimy water, which is absolutely repulsive. Not only that, but Ramsay finds a ton of raw and cooked chicken stored together and rotten produce being placed next to fresh ones. Despite all that was wrong with this business, Ramsay decided to give the inn a humongous makeover. The rooms were revamped and their menu was changed into something smaller and easier for their chef Ben to cook. Upon their relaunch, things were so extremely bad that Chef Ramsay just packed his bags and left them to deal with it. Once the Hotel Hell team left, Brian missed an important deadline to pay some money he owed, which put him under a lot of stress. Thankfully, this helped the owner wake up and Ramsay's advice began to sink in. He completely changed his kitchen staff and put a curfew on when there is live entertainment. He made further improvements to the kitchen, menu, added new patio furniture, and landscaped the garden. To this day, the hotel is miraculously still open and has an okay 3-star review on Yelp across 28 different reviews. Many of the testimonials complain about how the hotel's standards have dropped to abysmal levels, though people seem to praise the beautiful view. Towns Inn. Visiting the Towns Inn in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, Gordon Ramsay meets the most bizarre owner in existence. Wanting to keep his mother Karen Townsend busy after she retired from teaching, Jason and his wife Anna purchased the inn in 2007. Treating the hotel like a home rather than a business by doing things like sleeping in her office, she drives customers far away. With nothing left to do but seek some help, Jason calls out to Gordon Ramsay in hopes that he could help his eccentric mother with her business. When he arrives, there's nothing but clutter everywhere. There are creepy dolls and hats for sale, as well as some loaves of bread that were clearly not fresh. Taken to his room, he finds a selection of wicker baskets for sale at $1 to $30 that are caked in dust and covered in bugs. How nasty. What's more, the ceiling is cracked, the curtains fall down, and the cupboard is locked since it contains some of the owner's clothes. Seriously? Anyway, later on, Chef Ramsay heads to the dining room and orders some mac and cheese, fiesta stew, and trout. Predictably, everything tastes either bland, dry, or like it was pre-made days before, which disgusts Ramsay. Through discussion with the staff, Ramsay learns that Karen just stays in her office all day while a worker named Sarah is forced to tell her co-workers what to do in her boss's place. In order to measure the hygiene levels of his room, the Hotel Hell host uses a bacteria test kit which has a reading of 803, which is way over the 30 safe limit. Since the hotel was not making any profit, Jason was heavily considering closing it down even though he wants to support his mom. It's only bringing his family down anyway. Finding a place for Karen to live at rather than in her office, Ramsay pays for her rent out of pocket and sends the owner off for a makeover. Additionally, he also gives the inn a makeover and the staff was absolutely amazed with the changes. The office Karen lived in became a storage room, which allowed for more space in the general hotel. This enabled Ramsay to revamp the guest rooms as well as the dining area. Ramsay also simplified the menu to make it easier on the current staff and cleared the clutter in the kitchen. Once the filming was over, Karen continued with the lease she had on the house Ramsay helped her get. Now the staff is much more proactive and even Jason has become more involved with the business. Still being open to this day, the inn rocks a good 3.5 stars on Yelp across 64 unique reviews. Juniper Hill Inn. For our last entry, we're going to discuss Juniper Hill Inn, which is a 110-year-old hotel that is filled with antiques, has high prices, and an owner who lives luxuriously despite being in debt. When Ramsay arrives at the hotel, he's impressed by the beauty of it, though the front door is locked. Eventually getting in, he's shown to his room which smells like sewage and hasn't been used in over 4 months, so he asks for a room change. Hungry, he heads over to the restaurant and orders some crab cakes which are small and taste like soap, and lamb that is raw and terribly sweet. The owner Robert reveals to Ramsay that he lives in a $100,000 RV motorhome, which is parked outside the inn and only drains the staff's morale since they're all on the poverty line. Speaking with the staff, they all tell him that they aren't being paid on time and that they're constantly being mistreated by the owner and his husband Ari. To make matters worse, a worker named Ryan exposes his boss's unprofessional behavior, like how he allows his friends to stay at the hotel for free and takes a portion of the server's tips. In order to get Robert to give his employees their rightful pay, Ramsay forces him into selling his useless antique collection. As an ultimatum, he lets the owners know that they can either change and succeed or stay the same, which will force the employees to leave and for them to sell the business. It became especially clear that they needed to change when Ramsay brought in a group of guests to give the owners their testimonials. Other than the nice hospitality, the patrons had nothing else to say, which really shocks the owners. Vowing to change and sell the collection of antiques, Ramsay was finally able to start making changes. He transforms the hotel, making the Great Hall feel warmer and much more welcoming, as well as updating the dining room. After the Hotel Hell team left, a lot of the staff that was originally working at the inn decided to leave, but they were replaced by new ones. While the changes made did help the hotel last a little longer, they went into foreclosure with debts of $1.1 million, and it was eventually bought by new owners. Well, that'll be all for today's video here on the channel. I do hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a massive like down below and comment your thoughts. Subscribe for more content like this, and turn on those sweet bell notifications for instant access to our content. Have a good one, guys.